What is growth marketing? How does it differ from traditional marketing as we think of it? And what role does it play in the customer journey as companies try to convert millions of impressions into actionable paying users? To find out, today we'll be talking to Jotform's VP of Growth Marketing, Bulut Akışık. Welcome to Momentum, a podcast by Jotform where we talk about the technology, productivity tips, insights, and best practices that help us move forward in business and in life. Let's get started.
3, 2, 1, liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Maintaining momentum.
Welcome, everyone. I am here today with Bulut Akışık, which I hope I pronounced correctly. He is the VP of Growth here at Jotform, and thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show today.
Well, I'm a big fan of the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Get to hear every episode, being completely honest, Larry. So it's a pleasure to be here with you.
It's great to have you. I figure we dive right in. So for those who might not be familiar, which actually included me before I started at Jotform, I worked in advertising, but I wasn't familiar with the term growth, like growth marketing. You're VP of growth. And we have a marketing team, a distinct marketing team based in San Francisco, but you are VP of growth marketing. So could you talk a little bit about the distinction from growth and regular marketing?
Yeah, it's actually a perfect question because it's, to be honest with, it's the most frequent question that I get to... from anybody that starts Jotform.
So I'm not the only one, great.
Yeah, also in many other podcasts, because someone looks from outside and says there's a marketing team, there's a growth marketing team. So actually it's very clear. Let me put it this way. So think about the user funnel. Let's focus on the pirate metrics, acquisition, activation, retention. There's this long funnel. So traditional marketing mainly finishes its job after awareness and acquisition stage. And in growth side, we need to handle every single part of the user journey, from awareness till to a converted user. We need to be active everywhere. It needs to be fed with data. It needs to be scalable. It needs to be scientifically provable. So you can think about it like this. The way I like to put if I had to put what we do in a single sentence, that would have been it. We find new users to Jotform.
Right.
But it never is about awareness, because the world is a much more noisy place. So you need to be present in every stage of the user funnel, and it becomes it doesn't end once a user hears about Jotform. It doesn't end after a user visits our website. It doesn't end after a user signs up. It never ends.
Never truly ends.
And we need to be there in every stage. We need to be there with different assets. All needs to be tracked down by data. It's like an engineering / marketing job. But growth, every part of the funnel you must be looking at, and this is how it generally is the main difference between the traditional marketing.
Sure. Yeah. So traditional marketing, as you would think of it, you have advertisements, various ways to get the message out, newsletters, et cetera, but it is speaking to trying to get customers to us. And then maybe once we get them aware of Jotform, that sort of hands the baton over to you a little bit, and you continue that journey.
Exactly. Yeah.
And hopefully, again, get them to sign up and become a paid user. So that's an important distinction to make, which again, I think, like you said, a lot of people probably aren't aware of. And I think the growth team here is huge. It's way bigger, actually, than our marketing team, which also tells a lot about what has to go into getting the user to that final stage. What does it entail overseeing all of growth at Jotform? How big is that team, that responsibility?
It's right now in the north of 90 people.
90
more
people.
Than 15 teams.
As opposed to 20-ish or so in marketing?
Yeah. Because, it makes sense. Think about it. We have a huge funnel. We get more than 70 million eyes looking at us.
Impressions,
look at our assets, impressions all around the, all hundreds of thousands of URLs we have.
Yeah.
So to run this kind of a complicated, huge funnel in a data-driven manner. Like, not to forget that we have a 50-man data team around there just
Yeah,
giving us
we're not
clues.
guessing at this. We're using real
Yeah,
data
yeah,
to
exactly.
inform it.
So like it takes different expertise, people from different background with different insight, so that like we can control this funnel, improve it. Like I always like to see it as a game of passing a bucket full of water to the next guy, and like every movement of this bucket, you get some water spilled off. So like it needs to move smoothly, and like the journey is a big one. The world is a very crowded, noisy place because of the competition, because of all the different distractions that's out there. So like it's only I mean we keep growing. We'll continue growing. Like it takes it's a 24-hour job,
Right.
because like the users are everywhere. Everybody's funnel, like in the principal level, they're going over the same funnel. Like they click on a website, they sign up, they start using the product and all. But every user is different at the
Sure.
end. That's why like we have to be that crowded.
Sure.
Yeah, and like for me, like it's an experience of I mean, I really enjoy the job because like it's you get to it's mainly about the user itself, trying to make them trying to convince them, and like it's not like a hard sell. Hard sells doesn't work in this part of business, but like to find some common ground with them, like make them enjoy what you do, so that like I mean when they enjoy, they become active users. That's why I mean it's kind of a it gives us pleasure. So like it's a fun job to be in, even though it's really busy. It takes long hours, but like everybody on the floor really enjoys it because of this approach. Yeah,
And I can't imagine you're an expert in every single faction and team responsibility as VP of growth. Like you can't know how to do everybody's jobs.
Yeah.
So essentially, are you seeing it from like just a broader holistic perspective? Are you more in the weeds, like actually doing the work, or are you kind of steering the ship from a 10,000 foot height?
I mean, of course, I have to be in the weeds in some of the teams, and like I need to have like if you to do this, you need hands-on experience to make some to make some decisions, because like if you don't have it, like the decisions may not be reachable. It wouldn't make sense. It would give team a wrong steering towards things into unknown. So I mean, of course, like you cannot have enough information to run hands-on experience and everything that's out there, but something is very clear to everybody on the floor, like in every one of us. It's like we are a data-driven company.
We have a common thread.
Exactly, yeah, we are on a common thread. Like we have our North Star metrics really clearly set. Like we know how the funnel and like the way we like to put it, the growth machine works. Which part needs tinkering, which part needs to improve, which part needs more let's say enhance help with the team. So like that's mainly how I like to put it. Like with some teams I need to work hand in hand.
Sure.
But like you cannot be there all the time. So like you need to look at the big picture, and the big picture is data driven. That's
right.
How you're able to handle actually the entire company.
Sure.
At the end of the day.
And you trust your teams to do a good job
a lot,
with the oversight. We have amazing people here at Jotform. But yeah, I like having that data-driven foundation, that common thread, and just I'm sure you have familiarity with just about everything that goes into it. You're so focused on the user funnel that you've talked about. I'd like to talk a little bit more about what that funnel looks like. It's very common speak for marketing professionals, growth professionals, but can you dive a little deeper into what that funnel is? And when you're in the analogy you used, passing the bucket, why is water spilling out of the bucket in this funnel?
Yes, like it's a very actually a expertise question. Mainly amongst the listeners, if there are growth marketers, like just to let them know, like we like to look at this pirate metrics. Of course, like it translates into more specific terms in Jotform, which I'm not going to be able to, talk publicly about it. Like, but like you can think about it, like awareness, activation, retention, revenue, and so forth. And then there's the resurrection funnel of it. So like like every part of the funnel is handled by different teams. Like some team, like not funnel specific, like state specific, but there are teams who are active in different stages of the funnel. So it starts with millions, tens of millions, but goes down to something else. And like every different stage, it's actually is a representation of the user journey. So user may land on a landing or a blog post that we have or a video or like thousands of different assets that we generate every month with a different mindset. And like some users arrive at us being more informed. Some users arrive at us with some hesitations on my mind, on their minds, like with no budget authorities, different priorities. Like even I can say. The time of the day they arrive makes some difference in the emotional buying process. So, like, some gets it takes some longer time for some of them. For some of the users, it's a more urgent need there's out there. So that spills some of the let's say the spills, or let's say dropouts of the funnels comes from there, or like someone. Goes to the competitors. Sometimes some of them goes doesn't like something they see. We're not able to convince them. They're not able to get the value. They're not, or it's early for them to get the value. So there are thousands of different reasons. But that's the good side of having that big team, so that everybody can be. We have more than 90 eyes looking off that, let's say, the stream of users who are flowing in millions every month, so that try to understand them one by one. That might sound really cheesy, but at the end of the day, what we want to do is to understand them one by one, profile each and everybody, and try to give them a tailored experience of Jotform, so that they would get to the point where they got the real value of Jotform as fast as possible.
That's a big task.
Yeah.
All those millions of users, that's a very big task. But as you said, every user's story is different. Where they might encounter Jotform, what mood they might be in, if they're actively looking for a form solution, if they see it but then recall it later on, oh wait, I did need that. You never know where exactly you're going to get them, and you won't be able to see it if you're listening on Spotify, but the funnel starts out really wide with all those impressions. Then you get some that might click through to the site. Then you get some that might actually sign up. Then you get some that might convert to paid users, and it gets a little bit smaller every time. Yeah. And that's to be expected. But it's like, how can we optimize that and get as many as possible to the next stage of the funnel? And that is very much where marketing and growth are aligned in that regard. But growth, as you point out, they're responsible for carrying it all the way through, which is a key distinction. So this is, like I mentioned, it's a huge shop. There's a lot in the scope of growth marketing in general. So to steer the ship as you do now, I'm curious from a personal perspective, developmental perspective, what was your background that led you into this role? Have you always been a marketer? Were you a developer? How did you end up here?
It's actually a funny story. I can put it in one sentence. Life had me to become a product manager first. Okay. Then I became.
So you came from a product background.
If I go backwards a little more, I started as a developer actually.
Okay. Okay. So you do have developing experience.
I'm an electrical and electronics engineer.
Okay.
I founded startups, exited, sold some, failed some. Back in the day, I had to become a product manager because there was a need of a product manager while I was, dealing with more technical stuff. And then, I really enjoyed doing product management because it's pretty much the same job. You understand, you represent, as product managers are representatives of the user inside the company, and vice versa to the outside. And you need to become talented in business, the product, the user side of things. So, I started as a developer. Yes, I was implementing products for my startups. I got VC fundings and all, but the product bit was missing, and it needed to have a more professional handling. That's why I had to have an MBAs and so on. As years goes by, from a personal perspective, I had to, let's say, roll up my sleeves and had to deal with something that's not been, from my point of view, dealt with properly in my previous sides of my career. So like, I mean, in a product, like I've done product management more than 10 years prior to this. So like it helped, had me launch products, like, let's say penetrate into new markets. And it's actually, I mean, I worked with, very talented product marketing managers around the world. I had the chance to consult with, Fortune 500 companies. I became advisors to them and all. At some point, like, I mean, growth marketing was kind of a natural thing that evolved out of this career. Because like, Aytekin has this word I really like the most. Like, you can have the best product in the world, but like if you don't let anybody know, like nobody uses it. And the other way around is viable as well. Like, you can have the best marketing in the world, but you have a terrible product. So
both sides have to work in harmony.
So like it kind of evolved organically. It's the way I like to put it. So that's why, I'm coming from by the way, there are many people on the growth floor, they're coming from engineering background. Because like, for example, I really like to put, like, our head of content is an electrical and electronics engineer. Our channel marketing guy is an electronics engineer. Like, they're coming from that side.
Right.
And they had to deal with these kind of things, and then they organically develop, built into what they do today.
Sure, because some could say that's a different skill set, right? Doing the actual work, being an engineer, being a developer, but then being able to transition that into leadership ability and be able to oversee. And some people will be able to make that pivot. Some people might not feel as comfortable doing that, but it makes sense that the ones who are comfortable to do that will rise to sort of the top because they're so familiar with the process and they've known how it works. And coming from a product background makes a lot of sense with your fit here because as you said, any product launch, anything you're bringing to the market, you're still having to be aware of that entire funnel. And essentially that's just a microcosm of what you're doing holistically with growth marketing is optimizing the tunnel. So that's really interesting. Why Jotform? So you have all these, you've tried different ventures, startups, been a consultant. What about Jotform made you say, okay, I want to be here?
To be honest with, like, I've been to different, like, I'm kind of in the older bunch within the company.
You can barely be knocking 30, right?
And so, like, to me, like, it's not only about, like, it's mainly about the environment and the ambitions that the company gives you. Like,
just alignment.
I've been, I had been to, like, I had, my own startups. Like, it was a different trail. I've been to multinational, like, Fortune 500 companies. It was something else. But the thing that drives me the most here is the ambition that the people has. So, like, I've never seen a place in my life. I mean, I've been a consultant to many startups around the globe. Like, I'm just, Jotform is the number one place that I've seen, I'm being honest, completely honest, because I only work for Jotform, is that, like, everybody in Jotform is very ambitious about Jotform. And that, like, I can put it this way, like, it's like a basketball team that doesn't need a coach. And, like, everybody just tries to excel in what they do so that they constantly improve what they do by themselves. It's like an autonomous place to develop. So, I mean, I joined here, like, with 15 years in my career. So, like, still, like, I mean, normally if you go elsewhere, you don't learn that much. After that point, you go into management, you don't learn that much. It's just you pass your experience to other people. I learn new things every day, still. And, like, it comes from very unexpected places because, like, people that you work with are trying to improve themselves. It ends up an environment that, like, everybody is very ambitious and trying to improve themselves. It's like the biggest, I mean, I've been hearing about this from my colleagues from, other places. Like, that was the number one driver for me to join there. And to be honest, like, what I've seen after I joined was more than what they explained to me. So, like, that's been that I can say is the main reason.
Absolutely, and I couldn't agree more. Even from my perspective, like at the time that we're recording this might not be released for a few weeks, but at the time we're recording it, we're on the last day of Jotformers Week, which is where all the Jotform employees from pretty much across the world, like 26 countries, come into Ankara, Turkey, and essentially have a week of collaboration and unification around our Jotform sign launch for this occasion. But it's incredible meeting all these people, hearing all these presentations. It just gives me chills sometimes. Like these people are truly, and I'm also not just saying this, talented and driven of their own accord. And the reason, and you can chime in, but the reason that I would attribute to that is it's just a great culture and environment. Environment, like you hit on here. The culture is so good, I think, because in part because we're bootstrapped, we don't have the VC's funding. We aren't trying to forcibly grow. We're meeting our own needs and ends. We're not trying to service some angel investor or anything like that. We are growing the right way and making sure we have the best products. And it's a really cool environment to work in and expand in for that reason. So I love that, and I couldn't agree more. So let's pivot a little bit now, and we kind of gone over your role with growth marketing here and a little bit of what that entails. Let's think a little bit more holistically now and cut to the chase. Tell me from your perspective, what is the secret to great growth marketing?
I can say it's very obvious based on to the listener or the watcher of these. Like, you need to understand the user.
Yes, said that again already.
Someone would have argued with me telling that like you need to be data centric. Of course, you got to be data centric. It's like in the definition of what growth marketing is, or like not, let's say, like anything you do SaaS, needs to be data centric. But the secret flavor is to understand the user, like why they are here, what are their pain points, why they read your blog in the first place. Like there was this example early in my career. When I read it, it really gave me the goosebumps. Like. It was a shoe company, very famous one, that I might not be able to call its name, but like these guys were some of their heads of marketing was like trying to reach people online who were searching some how to ease their pains at their feet and like fingers and all.
So way before searching for shoes.
Yeah, like they started their marketing journey from that point forth. Because like they knew, and it's an amazing thing, like they knew that guy searching for something is like a pain reliever for his feet. It's probably like going to change the shoe he wears every day. So like the journey starts from there, and then it doesn't end after. Think about it. Like I really like to put this new people starts Jotform every week, and like we have this learn from other sessions. So like I explain them, the newcomers, what growth marketing is from buying a headset example. Think about yourself. Like we all have iPhones or smartphones and all. And like at some point you changed the earplug. I mean, it doesn't come in an earplug this day, but like it used to come. But like at some point you change your earplug.
Yeah, right? I honestly need a new one right now.
Yeah, exactly. And think about the journey there. Like you searched online, you asked your friends, you read reviews.
Yep.
At some point, like one of the headsets start working. You search for some place to get it fixed. You search for Apple Insurance or like whatever brand you're using. There was this entire journey till you ended with your current headset, whatever you're using. I mean, it was you live in the States, I live in Turkey. Like it was pretty much a similar journey for both of us. I'm pretty sure, even though we have
pretty universal,
like 8,000 kilometers in between, right?
Yep. So
that's the secret flavor. Like you need to understand every stage. You need to be there all the time, and you need to be. You shouldn't be in hard sell. You need to be in the way of helping people. Let's say you write a blog. That could be a great example as well. Like your blog shouldn't be trying to like sell something to the user. It should be written in a way that or a video, whatever the asset is, actually is trying to solve their problem, with or without your product. Of course, like it's better if your product, but like you should be helping users so that like they would turn more into you. That's the secret flavor from my point of view.
And it builds trust with the users
Exactly,
too.
exactly.
Like, yeah, sure, it makes sense. Plug Jotform if it makes logical sense within whatever the use case is. But at the end of the day, a lot of our content is geared just towards helping people in general, and that is important to building that user trust that hopefully encourages them to come back. They're more aware of the brand. They might be more encouraged to take the next step, take that sign up. And the shoe example from earlier is an interesting point of making the funnel even wider. It's like you thought you had this, if they just targeted people looking for shoes, you get a wide funnel. A lot of people need shoes, but you target people who have aches in their feet, and suddenly the funnel becomes even wider, which means that even more users could trickle down to you
And like,
at the end of it.
one thing that I want to add is that like what I said can be translated into this as well. Like freemium is the greatest part that plays role in this because like I mean like into any product like freemium is like free is probably the most important package that you provide because like it removes the let's say any hustle that like your users when they're trying to get to you.
Removes
like,
barriers.
Exactly, it removes the barriers. Like in Jotform, like our free package is so strong.
Yeah, and we conclude so many of our products in it. We don't hide our products behind that tier.
Yeah, like it plays it like it's kind of the I mean this is the flavor that I said like the secret touch comes from understanding the user, but eventually you must lower the barriers so that they can wishfully get to like test the product without you having to force them down to share your credit card. I'm gonna give you a trial. Not that like we have I can say hundreds of thousands of people using our free package for more than like more than there are even guys like they've been using one of our free packages more than a decade.
Yeah, that's all they need.
I mean, we never ask money. We never ask for them to pay. We're happy to help them. And I mean, eventually they convert, and if they do not, we're still a big fanatic fan of the freemium policy.
Right.
Yeah.
And you never know what that could trickle into because they might be using it for a decade. Who knows how many conversations they've had where they've happened to mention it. Maybe they've referred someone else. Like you never know. But it is a facet of, as you mentioned, I love that, building the trust. Building the trust with the user, finding that common through line they all have, even though everyone is a little bit different. When we're looking for headphones, we essentially probably do the same thing, and understanding that at the end of the day. So I really like that. What are some of the biggest challenges that you see in this type of fast-moving SaaS environment? Because growth marketing, like any company could have it, but I feel like growth marketing in a technology environment, a SaaS environment, is its own beast because you have to contend with a lot of digital personas, and especially with freemium business models, there are a bunch of other companies doing the same thing. What would you say are some of the biggest challenges you encounter trying to manage that?
Actually. There are new trends every day. Staying on top of those is a hard job. Like you need to have eyes everywhere. You need to be hearing about everything. And like there's also everybody's trying something new.
Yep.
You always need to stay on top of competition. And it doesn't like, of course, product is the main driver of this, but it doesn't end there. Like you need to have better content. You need to have better videos. You need to have some SEO concerns. So world is getting more crowded with competition every day. All the like the barriers of entry is really lowered for SaaS companies. So it creates some kind of an hustle. I mean, we're kind of the market leaders. So it's not like we are trying to top our own game rather than looking at the competition all the time. So we're trying to top our game. That's actually a big challenge, by the way. Like you try, like you come here every day, try to do the best that you can do. Every month you try to overachieve what you do compared to the previous month. Yeah. So try to compete yourself. You try to, I mean, in order to achieve this, you need to renew yourself. You need to improve yourself. So that's one of the biggest challenges. And like, there's also one environmental part that I cannot, gone by not mentioning, and it's the post-COVID era. Like the world has been into this turmoil of events for the last 2 years. It was a completely different landscape for everybody in the world. Like not only the SaaS, like SaaS, some portion of the SaaS get it had benefited from it, which is maybe not a good way to put it. Some get really badly affected, but while the world is transitioning out of COVID, there are many unknowns to the following years. As people, not like maybe in a SaaS company. So we're trying to watch really closely what's going to happen. We're trying to adapt, but while trying to do so, this is the environmental case, but mainly it's a game of improving what we do compared to the previous time frame. That's the biggest challenge that we have.
Right. Like we are our biggest competition in some
Yeah.
ways. I
Yeah,
think that's an insightful saying, because obviously we have a lot of pride behind our products. We're bootstrapped. We build everything from the ground up.
Yeah.
We don't buy products and just
exactly.
put them into our workflow. We build them from the ground up, and that's something we take a lot of pride in. But then it's like every year we do want to top that, and I think there is that sort of healthy competition within ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
And adapting to these fast-moving market trends. That's kind of what I was talking about with the SaaS era, where you put it perfectly. The barriers of entry are so low. So many companies can get into this and kind of knock on the door. So being sure that we're innovating, innovation is really just to keep ourselves in the game. If you don't innovate,
exactly.
you're going to fall behind. And I think that's an important thing to remember. So we've been a company for 16 years. You've been here for years. We started out mostly catering to small business, solopreneurs, single users. In some ways, that might always be our bread and butter. We're in it for the little guy. We have those free accounts. But as we have grown, we have organically started to draw more and more enterprise level businesses as well, larger corporations. And I'm curious to ask what kind of distinction there is between growth marketing for small businesses, like we've done for so long, and growth marketing for enterprise corporations, because that funnel has to look very different, I'd assume.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, there are some similarities in between. Like we are able to convert our, let's say, more many of our users of enterprises coming from our freemium plan.
Yep.
So that's actually crazy. Like think about it. User starts the journey with a free plan, upgrades, and turns into an enterprise user. So, once we try to reach out to the users out there in the world for the first time, it's a completely different game, because buyer persona is different, the user journey is different, the product model is different. Mainly, how I like to put it is that while we're dealing with the freemium side of business, the self-serve side of business, the buying persona is generally the user itself. So it's a much easier conversation. Product-led growth does everything that we want to do.
Yep.
But once we go into enterprise side, so buyer persona and the user and beneficiaries of the product turn out to be different characters.
Yeah.
It complex. The messaging becomes more complex, of course, with the rising price range. Explaining benefits becomes much more important. And you need to be delivering the message from different mediums, because let's say you're a solopreneur, you're doing everything you do. You come to Jotform, use the product, go to the moment that you understand the value, we are in communication with you. But once you go to a big enterprise, let's say a multinational corporation, someone from, let's say, marketing team comes using it. That person there tries to convince a director higher above. It goes up to the CFO or some financial department within the company. So that's why, by its let's say definition, it takes longer time. It means we need to keep a perfect experience, hold out this long journey. So that changes the game we do. Of course, everything goes more expensive in terms of spending, because the time frame goes longer. But I can say this much, there is a good connection between our self-serve side and the enterprise user. Of course, when the user gets closer to the enterprise realm, let's say, the messaging and how we communicate with the prospect even the teams in Jotform change. I mean, we have business development managers, we have sales developers, we have customer success people, we have a dedicated department under growth who oversees such companies.
Right.
Like
We have an
such prospects.
enterprise product team.
Exactly. Yeah. We have a different team. We have a different
Yeah.
different floor. For this product, and like it's growing really fast, which we are. I mean, we are putting really high efforts. Like it's one of our biggest priorities. It's been like this for a while, and like what we. The biggest thing that we do while trying to convince people are, try to explain the benefit of using Jotform as an organization. Because like forms, like the journey of a form is not a, single person's journey. Like, you don't just create a form and fill just for your amusement.
You have to do something with the data.
I mean, I need to pass it to you. And like the data collected from there must be read by someone else. So like the more products we launch, more templates we do, more connected experience we provide, that starts with forms, makes them onboard more people, and they become an organization using Jotform. And that's the point where we, convert them into enterprise users. And, I've been told that like some of the users we had like back in the day when we didn't even have Jotform Enterprise, they wanted Jotform Enterprise. So that like they can have, dedicated support, more users, more connected environment, and so on. Yeah, I mean.
So it shows there's a need even from the beginning. I think it's really telling that most of our enterprise
Yeah.
users initially came from a free plan because they had
Yeah.
to work their way up through multiple
Exactly.
tiers, realizing they needed more and more. And even though it gets more complex, especially when we are going after potential users that aren't current existing Jotform customers, it's still, I feel like the common thread exists to understand the user, understand what the corporation needs, try to meet them there, and try to provide them that kind of end-to-end solution, which Jotform has really evolved into becoming more of an end-to-end solution. Like you cannot only collect the data, but now you can do so much more with it through our apps, through our tables, approval flows, Jotform Sign. It's really incredible to see the growth machine, and it's exciting that we're targeting larger corporations, even though we'll never leave behind the little guy either, and that's important to remember too. So you touched on this a little bit earlier. You mentioned North Star metrics earlier in this episode. I thought I'd circle back to that because I'm curious. We've talked about all this and the strategy and what you're targeting, but ultimately, how do you know you've succeeded? How do you go home at the end of the day knowing, okay, we did what we wanted to do? Like, what are your metrics for success? What are some of those North Star metrics that you can share?
I cannot disclose my North Star metric because like it would give some
Broad scopes.
Yeah, in like broad scopes, like so there is the North Star metric, but like there are many other, let's say, sub metrics that drive that. So what we call it, like again, like we are competing with ourselves. So like we always want to drive that NSM as high as possible, and like we don't have this culture like, all right, we aim for like, let's say I'm just making numbers up, like 50% growth this year. All right, we got it. Let's stop there. It's not the case. No. So like if we can achieve 100% growth rate, we try, all the way down.
Ourselves.
Yeah, as long as we are improving ourselves in terms of the NSM and like everything that we do. We're the data-centric organization. So like everything that's built there is somehow creating, let's say, additional metrics that eventually pushes up the NSM. So we trace them all every day. Like it's my job. Like every day I wake up, come here as early as I can, and the immediate thing I do is to open that metric and check, how we did yesterday for yesterday. So like. And like I know that every team lead we have is on doing the same for their own metrics, and they're aligned in a way so that it would drive the eventual NSM.
Can you elaborate on NSM? What you mean by that?
North Star metric.
North Star metric. Okay.
Yeah. That's something we tend to go a lot. You use abbreviations a lot.
Yep.
Because the job requires us to talk too much.
That's so many abbreviations. Yes, let's shorten that. No, but I love how you keep coming back to the data-driven approach, and we have the North Star metric, but as you said, there's so many smaller metrics that lead up to that, and it's
Exactly.
about the data. It's about the hard numbers. We aren't really doing a guessing game here.
Yeah.
We are building off of hard data, and I think ultimately that helps guide the ship with confidence. So we know we're doing the best that we can. So you, as we talked about, have a huge responsibility, honestly, and you kill it. I've worked with you for many months, and it is impressive to see how you wrangle the ship and you help us with these
Appreciate
product
it, man.
launches,
Thank you.
and because it is a big effort and it takes up a toll, a part of your life, doing this, and you clearly have a passion for it. What is your favorite part about what you do? What do you love about what you do?
Maybe its team is actually built up with guys like this. So I really like how busy I am. I really enjoy this.
Interesting.
Because it's maybe kind of, comes from the same, core in between. It
DNA,
makes you develop yourself. You don't have a time to scratch your head, which means that, you're trying, you're hustling constantly.
Iron sharpens iron.
Exactly, yeah. That's what I like the most about it. That's why, you don't feel tired because you kind of enjoy being busy, and it actually develops you. That's the biggest part that I like. Being, for example, in a regular person's life, receiving hundreds of emails every day might be a pain in the ass, but I really love it. It gives me a chance to improve myself, learn new stuff, be in touch with everybody, communicate a lot, and if it goes well, move the ship even further than where we are at. So I can say that's the part that I like the most.
Yeah, that's awesome. And in the right environment, all of that busyness, it's energizing instead of draining.
Exactly.
And
That's how I would.
I love I love the poetry. You're VP of growth, and you are still so invested in your own growth. There's a nice poetry to that. Is there anything else related to growth marketing or anything else we talked about here in general that you'd like to share before we end?
Well, for the watchers amongst us who are interested in growth marketing, I really believe Jotform is one of the flagships of the market, SaaS market. So we produce a lot of content every month. We try, I cannot call the names of the teams, but I know. I've been in consulting business. Some of the teams, processes, and organizations we have in-house are unique to Jotform. And I see some time passes on, let's say, same for marketing, product teams, data teams, any team that we have inside as well. We build things to solve our own problems. And then 6 months passes on, I see somewhere else the same as well.
Yep.
And I turn out to say, the guys probably had the problem we had 6 months ago.
Yep.
That's the what that's
when
what
you're a market leader.
Yeah, that's also maybe a thought leadership.
Yep.
I can say in anything that we do, because even being a bootstrap company is kind of makes everybody to bootstrap, let's say, in what they do. They're not,
right.
Let's say, forced to grow by any means, but
right.
they grow organically. They need something. We hire a person for this. We get train ourselves, learn from users, and we end up having a unique organization that nobody has in the market. And then this company, the other company, it doesn't have to be our competitor. Or you go to this conference and read about the same guy doing it 2 years later on. Then you say, okay, so we should be the market leader.
Right, we're doing something right.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible just to hear you talk about it, to be part of this growth machine that is so focused on growth in the right way, which is the important distinction. This has been really wonderful to have you on and get some insight, a peek behind the curtain, what goes on into making this growth machine. It's been really awesome to hear it from you. I hope some of our users were able to take away some meaningful insights. It's all about understanding the user.
Yeah.
I'll reiterate that again.
Reach
double
to
underline
us,
that.
let us know.
Let us know how that works for you. Balut, thank you so much for your time today.
Same
It's
here. I
been awesome
appreciate
to have
it.
you on the show. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.